behind it. Just first of all, some background about me. I've struggled with my weight my whole life. I've had a sluggish metabolism, so that comes into play with some of the things I do in my morning routine. And I've also had a lot of chronic back and hip pain and neck pain that comes from years of being sedentary, being in a bad car accident, and a couple other things. So over the years, I've developed this morning routine, and let me just say, this is not the exact routine I do every morning, what I'm going to show you guys today, and that's what I'm going to do variations of it each Monday morning, because I've just kind of learned, like, if one thing hurts more than the other, I haven't done something in a while, I'll pull stuff in or take stuff out. So what I'm going to start showing you today is kind of the core exercises that I try and make sure I do as much as possible. And if nothing really hurts and nothing's really going on, then this is kind of my go-to routine. So we're going to go ahead and come right into it. One of the first things I do, and I actually use a rebounder when I'm at home, but sometimes I'm not at home and I have to do other things, is I just get my body moving and pumping for a few minutes of rebounder. So as I'm talking, if you want to just start little bounces from side to side and try and incorporate, like swing your arms around, shake your hands, and this kind of mimics what you're doing on a rebounder. And this can really help stimulate your lymphatic system. It helps to wake up your metabolism. It's really good to do this before you have breakfast or consume any calories at all in the day from a metabolic standpoint, because this low level cardiovascular activity dips right into your fat stores. So this is a really good way to just kind of give yourself a little metabolic boost for the day and kind of suck up any fat that's in your bloodstream, or at least mobilize fat into your bloodstream so that you can more readily use it for energy. So I just start with this, and then, and let me just say, if you struggle with high blood pressure or vertigo, just go into this next part kind of slow, because it could make you feel really lightheaded anyway, even if you don't have those things. I'll add Kundalini breath. So there's a couple of different ways to do Kundalini breath, but I usually trend towards breath of fire. And what breath of fire is you're going to breathe in and out through your nose, ideally. And it's a fast, quick breath. So it's so you're just breathing in and out quickly through your nose. And at first, it's kind of almost more of a shallow breath. So you're not trying to go as deep as you can. But then after you've been doing it for a minute or so, make it deeper breaths, but you're still doing that fast, almost like you're hyperventilating, which is obviously why you want to be careful with the high blood pressure, with the vertigo. If you are prone to anxiety, just pay attention to things like that. Although, let me say, sometimes this kind of breath can help you long-term cope with anxiety better. So it's the same breath, just a little bit longer, more drug out. Hopefully you can hear me breathing through my mic. It's and just keep repeating that. So what we're doing, and again, if you have a rebounder, or you might want to consider getting a rebounder, this is really good, because automatically that jumping up and down is going to activate every muscle in your body. Every time you make that impact, it's going to make all of your muscles tense up for a second, like they're bracing for impact. And so that really helps wake up the muscles. It really helps build lean muscle fiber in a really safe way, where it's not a lot of high impact on your joints. And that, combined with this deep breathing, really helps oxygenate all of your cells, helps wake up your body, wake up your brain. A few more seconds of this. And when I'm doing this on my own in the mornings, I will do it anywhere from 3 to 15 minutes. I don't really have a set amount of time I do it. It's based on when I feel awake and when I feel warm enough to start doing other things. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and stop there because I definitely feel awake. Hopefully you do. And then we're gonna come down on the mat. Okay, so I remember years ago, my chiropractor told me that if people don't do anything else, if they'll do cat and cow for 1 minute in the morning and evening every day, they'll drastically improve their lower back health. So that's what we're going to go into. With cat and cow, you put your hands in front of your shoulders, your knees slightly behind your hips. As you inhale, press your chest forward and drop your belly. As you exhale, you round your back and tuck your chin. And just keep repeating. I'm not timing this, so we won't be here exactly a minute. But I kind of know what close to a minute feels like because I've done this a lot of times now, a lot of mornings where I have timed myself. And what you're really trying to get into is this middle part. You want to feel a nice deep stretch in each direction. So you're not just bending here, you're trying to lengthen up through the spine so that you can really get that movement. You really get that flexion and just the stretch right through this middle part of the back. Stay right here a little bit longer. Couple more. Okay, so these next few exercises are core stability exercises that another chiropractor gave me actually, that I do every single morning except days when I'm doing core training anyway, because then I know I'm getting enough core work. And this has drastically helped my lower back health and my hip stability. So these next few exercises I really recommend if you struggle with any kind of hip or back pain, that you incorporate these next 3 exercises. It'll be, no, I'm sorry, 4 exercises. You'll do bird dog, Superman's. We're going to do a modified plank and a modified side plank. So those 4 exercises. So we're going to start with bird dog. You're in the same position as cat and cow. Really brace the center of your body and stabilize your spine. And raise opposite arm, opposite leg, really squeeze at the top. Try and get as parallel to the floor as you can. And try not to shift the center part of your body as you move. So the center part is nice and stable. And we're going to do 10 on each side. So this is 4 and 5. 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, we're going to come down on the belly for Superman's. Superman's can feel uncomfortable, especially first thing in the morning, but really focus on your breath. Make sure you're breathing deeply. You're going to bring your arms up to 90 degrees because we tend to not have as much shoulder mobility in the morning. As you inhale, lift up, keep the legs straight, slowly lower down, come up again. We're going to do 10 of these. One more. Okay. Now we're going to come into that modified plank. So walk your hands forward. We're on our knees, and you want to have a straight line from your shoulders to your knees. And sometimes it's a little bit harder to get in the right alignment when you're in a modified plank than when you're in a regular plank. It's a little harder to see that line, a little bit easier to get too far up or too far down. But you want your hips, like, so your body's in almost a straight line, but you want your hips to be slightly lifted. So it's like your back's kind of straight, but then your hips pop up just slightly. You'll know you're in the right position when you feel a shakiness in your belly. And you hold this for 30 seconds, and you hold it on your knees until you don't shake for those 30 seconds. And when you get to the point where it's really, you can't position your hips in any way that makes it challenging again, then you start holding a plank on your toes. Pull in all the belly muscles. We're going to say that's about 30 seconds. Now we're going to come into a modified side plank. So you've got your forearm flat on the floor. Your knees are stacked. If you'll notice, my knees are about in line with my wrist, give or take a little bit. You're going to press through this forearm and through this bottom knee to bridge up on your side. Make sure you have a nice straight line. You don't want to be way far forward, but you definitely don't want to be sunk back. And you ideally really want to be facing forward. If you need to kind of drop an arm down to help support yourself, you can, but try really hard not to round forward, because then you're just dumping that whole load into your lower back instead of these obliques. And the reason we want to strengthen these obliques on the sides of our bodies is they help support our spine. They help keep everything in place. We're going to call that about 30 seconds. Go ahead and switch sides. Okay, so remember, forearm flat down, knees stacked, knees approximately in line with the wrist. Press into the arm, into the bottom knee to bridge up. Straight line down the front of the body and the side of the body. And this is another one. You hold in this modified position until when you get to 30 seconds, it's not challenging anymore. And then you start holding a regular side plank. And to begin with, if you've been working your way up from modified, you may hold a few seconds like this and then come down on your knees and hold the rest of the 30 seconds here. Proper form and alignment is super important here, super important. Few more seconds. And come down. Okay, so let's go ahead and go into a couple of stretches while I tell you a little bit more about my routine. Go ahead and cross your right leg in front, or you might even want to extend it out, especially, again, this early in the morning. And we're going to bring this left leg over top. And because it's early in the morning, we may want to lean back and give our hips a little bit more space. If we tilt our pelvis like this, we'll give it a little bit more space. But remember, you can also have this right leg out and just be set up like this. We're just trying to get a nice gentle hip stretch on this left side. So I just want to say it was really hard for me to narrow down what I wanted to show you guys, because there's so much I want to show you guys, so much that I think can help with, especially with spinal health, that it's really hard to narrow it down and just pick enough to keep this around like 20 minutes. But I really want to, because if you suffer with lethargy or lower back pain or hip pain, go ahead and switch sides. When you get up in the morning, sometimes it's hard just to get going. And if you've got some big routine that turns into a 45-minute thing or whatever, because I just want to show you everything on the first day, then you're not going to do it. Whereas something like this, we will be done. We will be completely done, and I'm guessing under 20 minutes. And this is, it takes no time. You could literally have your cup of coffee beside you while you do this. And I promise you, if you start to do just these simple things every day, you will notice a difference. So don't feel like you have to like run headlong into some big routine. Just make little changes. And in addition to what it does for you physically, the things we're doing psychologically, like the deep breaths and stuff like that, are going to help us. but it also lays your foundation for your day. It lays the foundation of wellness. And that's another reason I always start my day with something that kind of honors my body and gets me in that frame of mind that I am working towards a better me. And that doesn't have to be a big, involved, tedious thing. And it really shouldn't when you first wake up. Okay, so let's go ahead and stand up. If you want to grab a wall, you can. This is another one it's early in the morning. We want to be mindful, so don't turn this into a big strength balance thing. Grab a wall or a piece of furniture, and we're just going to circle our knee open. Do try and keep your hips in a fixed position, because that's going to help ensure that the rotation is coming from this hip joint. In other direction. And let me just say, what I generally do after this is going to be super unappealing to a lot of people. Go ahead and switch sides. I generally take a cold shower next. I mean, like cold, like no hot water on at all. And I practice the deeper Kundalini breathing because, go ahead and switch sides. When you first get in, you kind of feel like, it almost kind of feels like you're suffocating. And if you have heart problems, I definitely would not do this without talking to your doctor, by the way. Okay, come to a standing position, feet hip distance apart, just big circles with your hips. There are so many benefits to cold showers. Some people take it really extreme. They do ice baths, which I don't think I could ever do. Go ahead and go the other direction. Nice big circles. But it can help with inflammation. That's a big reason I do it. I've noticed a drastic reduction in my joint pain, which is something I've struggled with for quite a few years now. It helps a lot. It's very invigorating. It wakes me up. Okay, we're going to do shoulder circles. Just be very mindful if you need to modify by bending your arm more. We're just going with our natural range of motion. We're not trying to force anything. But one of the other things I really like about it's really good for your metabolism. So we did our light cardio in a fasted state before we consume any calories. Go ahead and go other direction. And then hopping in a cold shower after that. That can really maximize your metabolic benefits. And a lot of this, like the exercise, the cold water, is about, go ahead and switch sides. It's about putting a little bit of stress on your system. A lot of stress we know is bad, but it really is the same thing as what we do with exercise. Just putting a little bit of stress on your body can actually make it grow and make it stronger. Other directions, kind of that whole use it or lose it thing. And so a cold shower to your body means that you're out in the elements of nature. There's, you know, an unpredictable temperature change, which tells your body, I better adapt. I don't know what's coming next, and you get stronger. Okay, now we're going to finish off with a little bit of neck mobility. And to start with, you're just going to very gently look side to side. I also want to recommend, as soon as you get up in the morning, I do this every single morning without fail, I drink 20 ounces of room temperature water, and I've had to work up to it. But it's super important. First of all, it's really good for our digestive system and our elimination system, but it also helps us start to rehydrate our bodies, because when we wake up in the morning, our spine is the most compressed that it's going to be, and we're the most dehydrated we're going to be. So we're more prone to injury. Now, just very gently, side to side. Don't go crazy with this. And then the next time your head drops to the left, just let it stay there. You notice we're not using our hands to assist. We're keeping this gentle. And then turn and look at that left shoulder. And very slowly come out of it. Just gently turn the head side to side, roll the shoulders other direction. Lean the head to the right and hold. And gently turn and look at the right shoulder. Slowly come out of it, roll the shoulders, turn the head. So what I'd like to suggest after you're done with this video is something else I try and do every morning, but I do this as soon as I get up in the morning. So I did it a few hours ago, is I hate to call it meditation because that's automatically off-putting to people. Sit in silence, either with your eyes closed or find a fixed spot to gaze softly on, and just focus on your breath. You can set, if this is uncomfortable, do it for 1 minute. Set a timer for 1 minute. And then hopefully over time you'll work your way up. Especially if you struggle with anxiety or the monkey mind. This mindfulness every day where we're just tuned into our breath and we're just sitting in silence can be so unbelievably beneficial, but it's something that comes over time. So I really recommend that you just spend a few minutes, just focus on your breath and then repeat it every day. So I'm going to, provided this recorded good, because I've had my technological issues this morning. If not, I'm going to re-record it later. I'm going to get this uploaded on YouTube very quickly and put it on the website. And I encourage you to do this every day for the next week. If not every day, maybe every other day. But if you could do it every day and at least do those 4 exercises, the bird dog, Superman, plank and side plank, 10 bird dogs, 10 Supermans, 30-second plank, 30-second side planks. If you don't do anything else, if you'll just do those, especially if you have back problems, I really think you'll start to see an improvement and you'll be prepared for us to kind of take it another step further next Monday.